Trans Am race.
Scott Sharp, of course, won the Daytona 24 Hours, has a big chance at Indy this year, alongside Bill Saunders, who is Paul Gentilosi's teammate.
On row 6, we have Greg Pickett, of course, the most prolific member of the Trans Am team, and alongside him is Brian Semo.
With no fear, right? Row 7, Dale Phelan, who lives mostly in Puerto Rico, and John Gooding, who's Kendall's teammate, gridded kind of far back, I think.
On row 8, we have Dino Crescentini, who took the pole at Phoenix last year in the Trans Am, and alongside him is Steve Hodge from California.
Row 9, Ray Kong, a pilot, a golfer, Mike Berg, who's going to run a partial season.
Michael Lewis is on row 10, alongside R.J. Valentine, starting his 101st Trans Am race.
Row 11, Peter Shea, might be a contender for Rookie of the Year, and Carl Rulon.
Row 12 is Mark Fieldsticker and John Miller.
And finally, in the last row, Tom Beatty and Jim McGuire. Now, I told you that there was a story involving Boris Said, and Derek Daly, can you bring us up to date on that, please?
Indeed, Sam. Tires are a story, and in fact have been a problem for Boris Said. The Roush Racing team is right behind me here. Boris Said qualified 6th. He will now start all the way in the back because he elected, after qualifying, not to start the race on his qualifying tires because he damaged them, he flat spotted them, so he'll start on new sticker tires, and the SCCA rule says they are all the way at the back. Now, David, you'll be interested in this. There's a bit of a gamble going on here because there's 2 tires, soft and hard. Gentilosi, who runs at the front, has elected to go on the soft tires, but the champion of 93 here says he can draw on past experience, and it tells him that the hard tires are the way to go here. So whether the hard tires have enough grip, I know the wear rate will be better, or whether Gentilosi with the more grip and more wear rate is the way to go, that is going to be a fascinating thing to watch throughout the season. What do you think, David?
Well, it's the last race of a very, very busy weekend of practice and racing. And there you can see the rubber on the track that the Indy cars, the Atlantics, and all the other cars that race here this weekend have put down. I would personally, I think, go for the soft tires because you're going to get less sliding around on that rubber.
We will be going racing in just a minute. It will be a 58-lap race or end at 4:45 Pacific time, whichever comes sooner. You see the temperature. It's an absolutely perfect day. I asked Tommy Kendall what he thought of it. He said, oh, I live in Manhattan Beach right down the road. All the days are like this out here. It is beautiful, David, and a record crowd is on hand here at Long Beach.
Absolutely huge crowd all weekend. This place has been an absolute barnstorming of racing, some great racing.
We're riding with Paul Gentilosi, who's carrying one of our 2 onboard cameras. Paul, of course, a major contender here, man who tells me he's in the latter stages of his career, but hoping to win Le Mans this year. And this is the look from Boris Said's car, which had qualified 6th, but they had, as Derek told us, changed the tires, so he's starting way back, not on the actual back row, but a couple of rows up. And we're going to stick with that shot, that view from Boris Said's car when the race begins. It should be absolutely thrilling. You see him now come on to Shoreline Drive. The field is massed, the 26 cars. This is the 3rd race of the Trans Am season of the 14-race series. And they get the green.
A very good start. The field pretty bunched up, but still the back markers coming out of the hairpin, so they're going to get left badly at the start. But the front there's Tony Harvey still hangs on to the lead. The car's all bunched up behind him. Ron Fellows still being trapped there up by the wall.
Dorsey Schrader there in second, gets hit momentarily by Paul Gentilosi. Here's Boris Said. He said he would be very cautious in the first turn, and he's right. The car's strung out in front of him. He'll try to pick them off one by one, but he's got a long way to go, David.
Ooh, I thought he was going to go down the inside there, which wouldn't have been very good.
Tony Ave still leads from Dorsey Schrader. Schrader running those very soft compound tires. He told me he's going to try to get in the lead and then slow the pace down, slow the field down, so that he can run the pace that he wants. But first he has to get by Tony Ave in that blue and white car, number 26, that is leading right now.
A very tightly bunched 6 or 7 cars front down to 25 miles an hour. Whoa, Tony Harvey. Now, that's not going to do his tires much. Because if he does that in this heat, 82 degrees, a lot of track temperature, if he does too much fishtailing like that, that'll take the edge off his rear tires.
Watch for Dorsey Schrader. He's shadowing Tony Ave right now. Wouldn't be a bit surprised if he makes a bid down at the end of Shoreline. Top speed here, 160 miles an hour. No bid. Paul Gentilosi in 3rd. Ron Fellows there in 4th.
Number 70, that's Peter Shea from Irvine, California, has spun at the hairpin.
51 years old, Peter Shea, maybe a contender for Rookie of the Year. A little damage there, David, not serious.
A little bit of damage, and somebody else, Mike Berg, number 15, got black flag for jumping the start. He was starting towards the back of the field. So still, Tony Arve leads.
And 55 is
Michael Lewis from San Diego, another local driver. Now, that might bring out a caution flag. He's well and truly stuck in those tires.
Yeah, he is by. And there's a big move by Tommy Kendall on the outside there, briefly in the black and white.
From one of those
there is action,
too.
and they're going to come around and probably find the yellow. An exciting start for this Trans Am here in its 30th year. There is
Ron
John
Fellows falling back and smoking badly. That's Ron Fellows' car smoking.
Fellows, the championship leader. We see the waving yellow flags there at that turn. It's a static yellow here at the start-finish line. Fellows in deep trouble. Had hoped for so much in that gorgeous Camaro of his.
Ooh, bad smoke. I'm not sure this bodywork rubbing on the... No, it's coming out of the engine. And when he blipped the change down, then it came out the exhaust pipe. So not a good... There's Tommy Kendall now.
Is a black and green car just off the left of your screen. Scott Sharp following that. Johnny O'Connell next. This is a pit stop now for Boris Said down at the end of Shoreline. And Derek Daly will doubtless try to get the word for us.
Boris Said smoke coming off the left front there. He must have just tagged something. Ooh, maybe not.
Maybe not. Boris Said, who we saw drive that golf ball so absolutely beautiful, and what a natural talent he must have. He ought to split down to the Masters, take up the action. Derek, are you down there at Boris's pits?
No, I'm not in Boris's pit, but I am in with Will Moody from Ron Fellows' pit. There's a lot of smoke from his car. He has blown an engine, so it won't be long before he's right here in the middle of the pit lane.
All right, Fellows, of course, first at St. Petersburg, third at Homestead, came into this race the championship leader. This will give Tom Kendall, who you see there on the right of your screen, a big chance, David Hobb, to increase his lead. All right. The race is underway, under yellow at the moment. We will be back to Long Beach in just a moment as the Optima Batteries Trans Am Classic continues.
This is the wonderful world of flying. Over 35 hours of high-flying excitement. Strap on Wonderful World of Flying and step into the pilot seat of screaming warbirds, slick home builds, and general aviation aircraft. You'll learn flying tips from the pros and take off for exotic fly-in destinations. It's all on the Wonderful World of Flying home video library. Over 35 hours of flying excitement on 23 videos, now available for just $300. Call 1-800-772-WWOF to order yours now. And as a special offer, get the Wonderful World of Flying Pilot's Cap, a $12 value, yours free with each order. Bring home all the thrills and excitement of flying. The Wonderful World of Flying home video library. Just $300 plus shipping and handling. Order yours now.
We are back at Long Beach, and the green flag will be coming out as soon as the field makes its way around to the start-finish line. Before that, we're going to take a look as Boris Said works his way up through the field from his bad starting position there, thanks to the tar. There it is.
Oh.
Body contact. That's R.J. Valentine in that Pennzoil car. And he touches him. I think he made contact with another car before that, don't you, David?
He did, going around that little left-hand sweeper as they come up to the hairpin. So now we're coming up for a restart. There's Tony Arve still leading in the blue and white number 26. Right behind him is Dorsey Schrader looking for a good win. And let's go down to Derek, who's with Boris Said.
Fellas, have a look at the smoke here. An ominous sign. Boris Said is done for the day. It misfired as he went out, but have a look back here because they knew as he left he was in deep trouble. This is the oil out of the engine, and that doesn't get out under normal circumstances. Behind me, about 2 pits up, is Ron Fellows. He's also done for the day.
Derek, what do you think it's Sam? Do you think the oil might get on the track and have an effect on the tire choices that have been so critical?
No, the fact that the oil's on the ground here means it's not in the engine. I think they've blown the engine.
Okay, gotcha. The race back underway again. This time the field strung out. Kendall just drifting under there with Scott Sharp right behind him. speed of 160 miles an hour. On shoreline, watch him lock him up. That's Paul Gentilozzi locking up.
Gentilozzi, of course, is on the soft tires.
Compound, so we shouldn't have seen that, right?
No, he
would have
expected him to be locking up less than the others, but on the other hand, of course, by being soft, when he does lock them up, he puts a bigger flat spot than he would do if it was a harder compound tire.
On board
now with
Paul Gentilozzi having his 100th start in the Trans Am. He will leave here, take a red eye, go test a Ferrari that he hopes to race at Le Mans.
Then go back to Phoenix and race in the Trans Am next week, and then and then go back to Le Mans the weekend after to do the test.
Here's Ron Fellows, really disappointed. He had such hopes for extending his championship. And down there with Ron is our man, Derek Daly. Derek?
Fellows, there's another pool of oil under Ron Fellows' car, and he is so dejected and disappointed. Ron, I know you don't want to talk to me, but what happened?
Right on the first lap, I started to lose oil pressure, and we obviously lost the motor. Right off the start, something wrong, something broke, one of those days.
Something wrong, something broke. Jeff, if I could just hang on to the camera for 1 sec. Have a look over here, fellas. There's a half-gallon of oil on the ground here. 2 cars, 2 engines, and so few laps.
Well, it's very unlike Ron Fellows or Boris said, both driving for the 2 top teams in the Trans Am.
Oh, it looks like
Bill
Saunders is off the road down there at those first turns. Gentilozzi's teammate, elderly gentleman of great ability, makes a move in.
Ooh, gets nailed there by Greg Pillett.
And
another elderly gentleman.
John Gooding squeezes by, looking pretty good. Gooding moving up now from an indifferent starting position. We see the leaders as they move through, still nose to tail. Now, notice the black car here, Tommy Kendall, last in this group.
Tommy Kendall, of course, qualified on the pole here, really did the fastest lap. I'm surprised he's not able to get around Jamie Gallus in that beautifully colored car, which is a sister car to Ron Fellows, of course.
Exactly. Well, David, his crew wanted him to try for the pole, and he got the pole. There he is, right behind Gallus. But I don't think Tommy Kendall himself had his heart in going for the pole. He's quite he's quite tactically inclined, and I think he'd rather have qualified a little slower and been running up front. This is a good run, by the way, for Scott Sharp in this turquoise car, which you're seeing very clearly here.
Just behind Tommy Kendall. Tommy Kendall now giving Jamie Gallus in the number 2 car a pretty good run for his money. Coming up to turn 6, this is always a good out-braking position, but
he gives
Gallus really blocking badly there. Trying to go around the outside. That's going to be a bit
right-hander, and now followed by a left. I think Kendall has running position, don't you?
Yep.
Little pushing and shoving. Great action as Tommy Kendall shoulders his way by Jamie Gallus.
Great pass. Jamie Gallus blocked badly, and old Tommy Kendall just flat outfoxed him, got around him, and now he's got past him. I'm sure he'll pull away, so that puts him up to 4th spot. As you said earlier on, he really wanted to qualify round about 4th or 5th so that he could get onto the front row of the grid, but his team really wanted that pole. This year it's only worth 3 points, not 5 like it was last year, so he did gain a few points on Ron Fellows. Obviously he hopes to gain a lot more now. Now, Dorsey Schrader really getting all over Tony Arby in the 26 car,
and I think they're both
Paul Gentilozzi with him.
I think they're both starting to hold up Paul Gentilozzi. In other words, Arby is blocking a little bit, wouldn't you say, David? All right, with a report from the pits, Derek Daly. Derek?
The owner of Dorsey Schrader's car is Tom Gloy. Tom, day and night for everybody at your shop. This is a brand new car, isn't it?
Derek, it is, yeah. The guys have put in a heck of an effort. Dorsey's driving it very well. As you know, we're on some pretty soft tires. We don't quite know what to expect, but the practice told us that that's the combination to run, and Dorsey's doing a nice job.
When I say, fellas, that it's a brand new car, they flew that car to Indianapolis to Riley and Scott, who chopped the whole thing to pieces, and this is their 97 development car. And Tom Gloy is so excited, he said this is the best car he's ever had.
I believe that Dorsey Schrader, who started with those super soft tires, is going to get that lead and then try to slow this field down. That is his game plan. And here we go. This is a look at the terrific duel between Tommy Kendall on the right in the black car, number 11, and Jamie Gallus in the blue and white car. And what Kendall does, David, is he gets alongside him. Doesn't look so good at this point, but you have to know the track turns back to the left. So he really has race position on him there. Jamie Gallus turns back into him, the 2 touch, but no damage appears to be done. Kendall holds control of his car, and there's the battle for the lead with Dorsey Schrader now assuming the lead. Dorsey Schrader, past Trans Am champion, man, a little bit out of luck from time to time, has taken the lead with his Ford, his Tom Gloy Ford. And now we will see, David, if he is able to put into action what he had hoped to, which is to...
Well, of course, this guy that we're on board with now, Gentilozzi, also has the soft tyre setup. It obviously depends on how the cars are set up as to how much damage they do or do not do to their tyres. But, of course, Paul Gentilozzi now will be desperate to get around Tony Arve, who's also in a Mustang, the 26 car, because he certainly won't want to see Dorsey Schrader disappear into the distance. Here we see a replay of the pass. Tony Arve gives him a lot more running room going to that same corner. This is the same place that Kendall passed Jamie Gallis the lap before. And, of course, the 26 car of Arve gave him running room. He went down the inside in the classic way. Tommy Kendall did it the hard way, but by God, he got it done.
He did, and now Dorsey Schrader starts to pull away significantly, and Kendall, there we go with Gentilozzi ripping by Tony Arve, ripping by. So now we have two soft compound tire cars.
Kendall got by him as well. Tony Arve seems to have suddenly lost a lot of speed.
And Kendall, it's supposed to be very hard, if not impossible, to come up from that 5th position and lead. He was unable to do it at any time last year, did it once this year. Derek?
Dan Bing's crew manager for Roush Racing. Kendall looks extremely aggressive out there. Are you in contact with him?
I think we're all right. You know, right now with Ron having trouble, we're just trying to get all the Fords in the front. It's a manufacturer's deal, and we'll try to win it with Kendall, but we need to get all the Fords up front first.
Hey, boys, you hear that? They're already thinking championship. It's more important to get points than actually to win this race.
Well, Derek, of course, they've got a Camaro with Paul Gentilozzi sandwiched in between them. We will be back. You see, it is exciting, and they are passing here on the streets of Long Beach. Please stick with us.
Do you have an idea for a new product or invention that you'd like to submit to companies? If so, there's information from Invention Submission Corporation to help get you started. ISC is America's largest invention service organization with over 50 offices nationwide. We help people like you submit their ideas to companies. Call this toll-free number now and we'll send you this free information. It includes an important document that assures confidentiality, a form for recording and dating your invention, and an informative brochure which tells you how to proceed with submitting your invention to companies through the ISC data bank as well as various other means. Even if you only have an idea for improving an existing product and don't know where to go with it, you'll want to call now for ISC's free information.
For your inventor's information, call toll-free now, 1-800-715-2450. That's 1-800-715-2450.
Why do the most serious car enthusiasts choose Auto Week every week?
Auto Week has the latest news because it's a weekly.
If you love cars, you should be subscribing to Auto Week. Call this number now for our special TV offer.
I'm into going racing with my buddies, and Auto Week gives us information to talk about before it's old news.
Call now and get 52 issues of Auto Week for only $19.95 and 85% saving off the cover price. That's 52 issues of the car news you need for only 38 cents an issue. Auto Week, for a true car lover, once a month is not enough. Call now.
Back at Long Beach, where this beautiful aerial shot is courtesy of the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, based in Carson, California. Today's pilot is Charles Russell from Downey, California. We have on the track, looking down from that blimp, a new leader. Paul Gentilozzi has muscled his way by. This is the replay. He sets up Dorsey Schrader on the long back straight, and watch Tom Kendall in that black car maneuver into third. Paul Gentilozzi, driving his 100th Trans Am, is going to give himself something to remember it by.
And his first Trans Am win ever was here back in 1988. So
for Oldsmobile.
For Oldsmobile, that was a great pass. They were lapping Jim McGuire in that white car, and he took the opportunity, got down on the inside of Dorsey Schrader. Dorsey tried to come back. Now he's going back on the inside. Whoa, 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 whoa.
Paul Gentilozzi in trouble. He got faked out there by Dorsey Schrader. Tom Kendall is now up into second place, and Kendall now is pressuring Schrader.
Well, of course, Kendall now, he has got some harder tires on the back. He's got the 430s on the back, so maybe he's going to try and really push Dorsey Schrader now so that Dorsey runs the tires off his car.
And he's wasting no time on keeping that pressure on. Dorsey had to take a defensive line. Let's take another look at it. There's Gentilozzi still leading, but now badly, dangerously offline as Dorsey gets inside of him, leaves him nowhere to go.
But luckily, he didn't hit anything, so he hasn't damaged the car. But, of course, he's going to have to wait till half the field streams by before he can pull back on to the racetrack. They're lapping the 64 car. That's John Miller. He's from Tennessee. He's a long way from home and getting lapped there, but he's giving them plenty of room on the main straightaway.
Gallus is back in third. You can just see him there. And in the pits, Derek Daly. Derek?
I'm here with Boris Said as you watch that great action. Boris hardly had time to get a sweat. What happened?
No, too bad. I mean, it was going to be a really good ride, I think, for the Jack Roush Mustang, but unfortunately I had a little problem in the motor, and it was building pressure and shooting oil out of the breather, so I couldn't continue.
Well, it could have been spectacular, fellas, to watch that run from the back, but it didn't happen.
Well, I think he ought to take himself down to the Masters tournament, enter it at the last minute. I think he might be a contender there. Dorsey Schrader still out front from Tommy Kendall. You see Jamie Gallus and Ave battle it out. Jamie Gallus shouldering his way into third. There's Scott Sharp on the left in the turquoise car. Scott very much part of that battle for third. Ave has
Scott Sharp tried to go around the outside. That didn't work. And there's the 4 car of Johnny O'Connell. This is his first transaction. He must be looking at this thing. I'm not sure I'm in the right place.
We are seeing great driving today, David. Yes, am I right? This is easily the best Trans Am of the season. They are duking it out in the streets here.
Yeah, and here comes Paul Gentilozzi into the pit lane. We got a report that he might have got some brake failure, which could be true because he didn't lock up when he slid off the road, did he? I mean, none of the brakes locked up.
I didn't notice that. That's interesting. Paul Gentilozzi, a wonderful man, and with him down there, stepping out to talk to him, are Derek Daly.
You're absolutely right, fellas. Gentilozzi, I look in. He says, I don't know what happened. Hang on a second.
Broke the suspension in the front.
Something broke in the suspension in the front. Directly from Gentilozzi himself, fellas.
Well, we're back at the battle for the lead with Dorsey Schrader there in the number 12 car right there in the center of your screen. Hounded now by Tommy Kendall. A soft-tired car hounded by a hard-tired car. Let's try to put this in perspective. David, I think that Dorsey will try to keep the pace down, not accelerate too hard off the turns, get wheel spin and overheat his tires. Kendall will have to find a way around him. Dorsey will, of course, have to brake late and have to take the turns fairly quickly. But this is a tactical duel between two men who very much know how to win Trans Ams. Both of them have won championships and have rung up big list of wins.
Well, if Tommy Kendall should win this race, that will probably vault him into the lead in the championship over Ron Fellows by just a couple of 3 points. There we see Gentilozzi getting out of his car. Very disappointing start to what's going to be an incredibly busy 10 or 15 days for him. He had back to France to test, back to Phoenix to race next week, then back to France the week after to qualify for Le Mans, where he's driving a Ferrari, as we watch the 2 leading Fords here at Long Beach in a gorgeous, gorgeous day. And here comes the 3rd place car of Jamie Gallus, Chevrolet, and there's the 4th place car, the 33 of Scott Sharp, another Chev. Right behind him is the number 4 car of Johnny O'Connell, another Ford, and right behind him is Brian Simo, another Ford, and behind him looks like Greg Pickett in the Rain-X number 6 car.
15 laps down out of 58, and once again, Derek Daly. Derek?
Paul Gentilozzi, yet again you lead one of these Trans Am events, but you're out. What happened?
Well, it looks like it broke the left front spindle. I don't know, those are new parts. Sometimes you just have a failure. We had a really good car. Took a little bit to get by Dorsey. Tony was holding us up a little bit, then Dorsey got by it. His brakes were going away right away. So I got by Dorsey, and then I set in a pace, and then this happened under braking going into 1.
Okay, fellas, Long Beach, as usual, proves to be a car breaker.
Well, of course, any street circuit like this where you've got so much violent stopping and starting, and of course the streets are always bumpier than a made for a purpose-made racetrack. They are tough on cars, very tough on drive shafts, and of course in this case tough on the front spindle as well, because terrific loading goes through the brakes on these 2,700-pound cars. I mean, they're doing 160 down the straightaway from here. They start off at 25 mile an hour. Really tough on the gear train, on the drive shafts as they accelerate up to maximum speed, which for these guys between 160, 165. Then they have to brake for that turn 1, 2, and 3 complex. and drag it back down to about 55.
David, I believe both
them.
the front runners have things going exactly the way they want it right now, don't you? Dorsey was able to get into the lead that he wanted. I believe he has, I've been watching the times, slowed the pace a little bit. Here's that exciting race for 4th, 5th, and 6th with Scott Sharp just leaving your screen. Johnny O'Connell there in the blue car, and Brian Simo in that Valvoline-colored car.
Brian Simo, until the last race at Homestead, had been in the top 10 in 17 straight races, and no sooner had we finished telling everybody what a fantastic run he'd had, and of course he immediately dropped out of the race at Homestead, so he spoiled his record, got to start all over again. But having a strong race this afternoon, giving Johnny O'Connell, a very experienced driver, a pretty tough time. O'Connell in the number 4 car. Whoa! Flat tire on Saunders' car. Bill Saunders, the teammate for Gianellosi. Now he's going to have to go in the pits for a new tire.
He, of course, had a spin a little bit earlier. Brian Simo, who was in that group we've just been describing, started 11th, is now 6th. He is coming on very, very well. Simo in that group right there in the Valvoline car. And the last car in the group, you see it there, is Greg Pickett in the yellow Rain-X car. So he is holding on. Greg Pickett, a man, a previous champion in this years ago, a man of enormous experience and the owner of Scott Sharp's car.
Yeah, Greg Pickett is by far the most experienced Trans Am driver out there, with some horrendous amount of starts.
But now, as we see the leaders start to come up to lap some slower traffic, and remember, that is a major challenge here, although Dorsey gets right by, and so does Tommy Kendall with no problems. But the cars are so wide. All right, we will be back with more of this terrific Trans Am action in the Optimum Batteries Trans Am Classic from here in the streets of Long Beach. Stay with us.
When you want to go, does your car say no? Then you need Motor Up, the no oil change engine treatment that puts the get up and go back in your ride. Motor Up performs in vehicles new or used for a smoother, quieter, cooler running engine in minutes. With these treatments, you have to wait for an oil change. But with Motor Up, just pour it in and you're done, saving you time and money.
No hesitation. It started right up. It drives like a brand new car.
Motor Up scientifically penetrates, then bonds to the metal inside your engine, making cold starts easier, even at 20 below. Act now and receive Lube It Up spray to solve all your stuck and rusty problems. Restore radiator treatment to stop radiator leaks when they happen. And 303 windshield wiper treatment to recondition your blades so they work like new. You'd expect to pay over $70, but you won't. You get it all for $29.95, so order now.
Call 1-800-316-6633 to order Motor Up or send a check for $29.95 plus $6.95 shipping and U.S. funds to the address shown. That's 1-800-316-6633. Call now.
Pass.
As we come back to racing in Long Beach, there has been a lead change. It was just moments ago. Dorsey Schrader got wide in a turn, appeared to bobble. Tommy Kendall now leading the race, took full advantage. Here's Kendall running second right now in the black car. Schrader appears to have trouble under braking, David, and there goes Tommy Kendall by on the inside. This is another exciting pass for the lead in what I think is the season's best Trans Am.
Boy, this is absolutely incredible race. I haven't seen a race as good as this of any sort, let alone just the Trans Am. It's incredible the way these guys have been duking it out. Just everybody's been passing and repassing. Great stuff here on the streets of Long Beach, no doubt about it.
Tommy Kendall, 29 years old. Dorsey Schrader, 43. A battle of two men, very different in age, but very equal in experience, because Dorsey got started with his career really rather late in his life, whereas Tommy Kendall came right out of the cradle and started to race.
There you see it coming to 6, and here comes Jamie Gallus in the Buzz Patrol car. Now look at this guy here, Scott Sharp. This is the race for 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
And as the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th rages, we want to hear from Derek Daly in the pits. Derek?
Scott Sharp, fellas, is finally beginning to show at the championship form that we've seen for him in the years past. Jim Frazier looks after his car. He's in good shape. Are you in communication with him?
Yeah, he hasn't said a whole lot. We're just trying to save the car, but trying to run up front. Tires and brakes are going to be an issue, so we're only 21 laps in. We're just going to wait and see what happens.
The wait-and-see attitude, fellas. Tires and brakes are going to be this continuing story.
Well, Derek, even in Scott's heyday, where he ran off such a string of victories, this was the typical race for him. He'd hang back early in the game and then move up stealthily as the others overused their equipment. Scott Sharp, make no mistake, he's passing a back marker there. A very tactically thinking driver.
I might stay here, Pam, because the father-in-law, Greg Pickett's going to pass him. He's picking up 4th.
Greg, we were talking about Over here, Derek talking down in the pits about Greg Pickett, Scott Sharp's father-in-law. Pickett is now fourth in that line of cars. Would the father-in-law be allowed to pass the son-in-law, do you suppose?
I imagine he would be allowed to do exactly what he likes to do there. His cars. Greg Pickett, of course, this is his 130th start in Trans Am. Previous to
Johnny O'Connell
gave Johnny O'Connell a little nudge up the back then.
Johnny O'Connell just driving beautifully, maybe more familiar to you driving in those Nissans in long-distance races where he's an absolute master, but he also has some IRL experience this year. He's been doing very well there. I hope this could be what you might call the year of Johnny O'Connell. I'm a big fan. He's a red-haired guy. There, look, he's all alongside now. Whoa, I think that was a mistake.
It was a mistake, and he lost a lot of momentum, which allowed Brian Semo to get alongside him, but he certainly made a good attempt there at passing Scott Sharp, but on the other hand, he knew when discretion was the better part of valor and pulled back, did not try and force the issue and have them both off the road.
This is quintessential Trans Am racing, ladies and gentlemen. Big cars lumbering around the track at extremely high speed, shifting around, looking for opportunities to make moves, hoping someone will make a mistake. Otherwise, very, very hard to get by. The passing we saw at the front of the race, very unusual, David.
Well, this, of course, is a particularly difficult circuit to pass on, as Derek. Whoa! And there's Greg Pickett trying to push Brian Semo around there. Gave a tail push there just as Semo was turning the car and rotating it. Nearly rotated it right round for him, but everybody again got away with it. Greg Pickett at the back of the pack here. But it's very, very close races. It's third, fourth, fifth, and sixth.
Semo third in that line, in that brightly colored car. We see it right there. Very successful young businessman, entrepreneur. Has a twin, an identical twin that I met yesterday. And they arrived in an enormous black limousine, almost as long as the Queen Mary.
It was pretty impressive, that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it certainly was.
So Scott Sharp pulls away, got a bit of a respite now from Johnny O'Connell in the 4 car. Scott Sharp was telling us that this is a brand new car. They've had to modify it a little bit, and he feels it's going to take him till about the middle of the season before he becomes a real major factor in these races. But he's pretty confident that towards the end of the season, or sort of after the Lime Rock race at the end of May, he can start picking up some wins.
Did he tell you, Lime Rock? He told me Detroit. That was yesterday. I think he's already advanced his schedule.
Backed it up to Lime Rock.
Yeah, I think he's looking. All right, now Tommy Kendall is beginning to pull away a little bit from Dorsey Schrader, who you see in the blue and white car there.
Tony Ave still in third spot in that 26 car.
Ave is really the story of the day in many ways, don't you think, David? He is having a beautiful drive, no experience as a car coming into this, and he's just hanging on marvelously.
Well, Tony Ave is a journeyman driver, and he drives everything he can get his hands on, and he needs to do well in this race.
So this will upset the championship if the order stays as you see it on your screen. Stay with us for the Optimum Batteries Trans Am Classic.
Can't see through blinding glare? Don't have your sunglasses handy? Now you can do what driving professionals do.
In automobile racing, it's critical to see what's ahead. The same thing is true in everyday driving. Glare is definitely one of the biggest problems. So you can understand why I use glare blocker.
Introducing Glare Blocker, the ingenious way to cut dangerous glare while you're driving. Glare Blocker attaches easily to your visor. Just fold down and you're ready to go. Could you drive safely through this blinding glare? Save your eyes with Glare Blocker and drive safely.
I've never seen anything like glare blocker. It's absolutely terrific. It cuts out the glare, and it's always right there when you need it.
The secret is Glare Blocker's distortion-free amber acrylite composition. Look, Glare Blocker blocks 100% of blue light, the primary source of glare. You get a clear, safer look at the road ahead. No more squinting.
I won the Indianapolis 500 with this car. This windshield cost over $3,000. It's the same concept as a glare blocker.
Glare Blocker also filters harmful ultraviolet rays that can irritate eyes.
If it didn't work, believe me, I wouldn't use it.
Glare Blocker is so effective it actually improves vision in rain, fog, even smog. Watch. With Glare Blocker, the building appears like magic before your very eyes.
I've got one in my car, I've got one in my truck, and right there in my airplane.
No more dangerous fumbling for sunglasses. Glare Blocker is always ready to go.
It cuts down the glare.
Yeah, I like that a whole lot better.
Be with it.
Oh, my goodness, it's fantastic.
Might be the best money you ever spent.
To order your glare blocker for only $19.95, call now, 1-800-449-1200. This is a limited-time special TV offer. Take a tip from three-time Indianapolis 500 champion Bobby Unger. Don't go anywhere without your glare blocker. For fastest delivery, have your credit card ready and call 1-800-449-1200. Order now, call 1-800-449-1200.
And we are back at the Optima Batteries Trans Am Classic here in Long Beach. And you see the car of John Gooding right there, the Mountain Dew sponsored car. He is the teammate to Tommy Kendall. Kendall with his... Oh, no! We just started to talk about him, what a great job he's been doing, and he loops and belches a little fire out of the side. Dave, what do you think happened?
Well, I think he just lost control. He was running 8th at the time, and he's certainly going to lose at least one spot and drop back to 9th there as he makes a restart. He got the engine going again, and so he's on his way back in 9th spot. As we look at the number 11 car of Tommy Kendall, leading from Dorsey Schrader in the Ray Bestis Ford, 2 Fords out the front. Tommy Kendall's got harder compound tires on the rear than has Dorsey Schrader. Will that have an effect as this race progresses? We don't know. He's sliding it through the corner there. Feels maybe a bit more confident in sliding it than Dorsey Schrader might. Derek Daly down the pitch has got something for us.
Quick update, fellas, on Jamie Gallus. He is actually running the same lap speed as Tommy Kendall, but of course he's about 100 yards behind. Don Murphy just gave me that update. Now, Schrader, he's behind Kendall, but Tom Gloy looked at me and says, I don't think we have the speed of Kendall. He's on the softer tires, and Kendall, as you mentioned, on the harder rear tires.
Interesting, Derek, too, the Mustangs throughout the weekend just appear to have been a little bit more powerful on the straightaways. Mustangs, of course, over the years have just 59 victories to Chevrolet's 132, but they might be on the way to evening up the score here.
I did say just a few minutes ago before we went to break that Tony Arve was 3rd. Of course, Jamie Gallus is 3rd. Tony Arve, in fact, is back in 14th spot. He had to make a pit stop, so he came back on the 9.
30 laps to go out of 58, so we're roughly at the halfway point. Conditions just continue to be absolutely beautiful. Light wind here, temperatures in the mid-70s, a perfect day, a record crowd. So you can see every inch of the track covered in advertising. It's a spectacular event coming from Long Beach.
Well, it's California's biggest sporting event by a large margin over, ironically, the NASCAR event at Sears Point later on in the year.
Jamie Gallus, 24 years old, lives in Albuquerque. Of course, he's the son of IndyCar owner Rick Gallus, who enjoyed such a run of successes here in Indy cars. His dad's team won 5 in a row in the years 88 through 92. 4 of those 5 with Alonso Jr., the real master of this track. And I think Jamie Gallus learned a lot from his hanging around those guys, don't you, David? Sort of by osmosis.
I guess he did pick up a bit by osmosis.
He was 7th at St. Petersburg, 4th at Homestead, so he is running himself a very solid season this year, Jamie Gallus. I thought for a little while there that he was on the career path to drive his dad's Indy car. So far that has not happened, but I think he's having a great Trans Am season. As you see Tommy Kendall maneuvering past slower traffic.
That's Bob Ruman in the 23 car, so Tommy Kendall managed to get him between himself and his Dorsey Schrader. Dorsey Schrader's got around Bob Ruman now as they come into that turn 6. Great overtaking spot this.
You realize that Kendall doesn't use a clutch. I mean, apparently very few of them do. They brake with their left foot. In Kendall's case, it's because of that bad accident he had at Watkins Glen that his feet are looking at him with him the other day. They don't have much mobility. He couldn't really do that heel towing combination. But many of these drivers also go without the clutch. You see the battle here for 4th, and the beautiful shot from above, one of the Goodyear blimps, as we look down at Long Beach. We will be back on the streets in just a moment.
Deep, rich, luscious color can only have one source. Eagle One Wet Car Polish. For the hottest looking ride on the road, get wet.
They're bred for pure speed. The exotic World Sports Car Series, plus the other cars of IMSA Racing. Follow them all season long. All the adrenaline is on Speed Vision.
Live Sunday, April 21st at 1:30 from Road Atlanta.
House windows are easy to clean, but when it comes to your car, dirt, birds, bugs, and road grime can really muddy the picture. That's why you need Eagle One 2020 Auto Glass Cleaner. Perfect vision for your car.
back in Long Beach and a look at the top 10 as they stand right now. Tommy Kendall, who started back in 5th, although he had the fastest time in practice, has shouldered his way up into the lead. 31 laps to yet to be run. You see Dino Crescentini. They're rounding out the top 10. He has had a fine drive, David.
He has. He's come up well down the pack. As we still look at this great battle now. This has gone back. This is 5th and 6th here now. Johnny O'Connell's lost a little bit of ground to Brian Semo, and Greg Pickett is now giving him a hard run for his money. Greg Pickett's doing his 130th of these Trans Am races.
And I was just going to say, and Johnny O'Connell is first. I mean, you know, here we have a tremendous spread in Trans Am experience, if not all-out racing experience, because Johnny O'Connell is very experienced in long-distance racing.
Johnny
and open
O'Connell
wheel racing.
using up plenty of road there, coming down to the turn 6 area, then chopping across the bows of Greg Pickett. Here's R.J. Valentine in the 7 car, following the 93 car of Dino Crescentini.
There is Crescentini right there. You see him in car number 93,
beautiful,
running 10th. It's very exciting. I was up looking closely at that to see if all those little separate dots were put on separately. The answer was no. They were all affixed to a big mylar sheet.
His sponsor is Auto Speciality, and I'm sure that's what their speciality is.
Well, we're noting them, and they seem to have done a terrific job.
R.J. Valentine thinking about going down the inside. R.J. Valentine starting his 101st Trans Am, so Gianluigi on his 100th, Greg Pickett on his 130th.
You know, we talk a lot.
R.J. Valentine on his 101st start today.
We talk about all these men who have made Trans Am history, who have run over 100 Trans Ams. We know there's a changing of the guard coming along, but this has been a wonderful period, wouldn't you say, David, for the Trans Am? See what's happening here. Dorsey Schrader has just been passed by Jamie Gallus. And Dorsey, David, look at that. As he came out of that hairpin, that's where, as you point out, they're going 25 to 30 miles an hour. Dorsey hesitated. I know he is getting wheel spin. He had to feather that throttle. So the soft tire strategy for Dorsey may not be paying off.
No, it may be that his rear tires are starting to give up. And, of course, when he applies all that horsepower on these slow corners in second gear, they go through this complex here in second. They certainly come around that top hairpin in second, sometimes first in traffic. A lot of torque and power goes to those rear wheels, so you've got to be very careful that you don't run them off the car.
And, of course, nothing is more frustrating, right, to a driver. I mean, when you've got the power under your foot, you want to use it, but if you do use it, you cook your tires. So you have to just feather it on, and it's just maddening. The gap between first and second is now up to 4.2 seconds, and Dorsey Schrader, who did lead earlier, is certainly dropping back. Gallus is starting to gain, however, on the leader, Kendall. So it may be that Gallus right now Jamie Gallus may be the fastest driver on the track.
And there's still about 25 laps to go, so he's got plenty of time to gradually wind him in.
There he is there.
Traffic will play a part. Dorsey Schrader goes out there. You see the leader, Tommy Kendall.
And there you see
the lead back to
Jamie Gallus.
Jamie Gallus, which of course is half what it was just about 10 laps ago when Jamie Gallus was way back in 5th spot.
Now, Jamie Gallus has never won a Trans Am. This is a very big day for him. You see Scott Sharp making a move down there at the bottom of the screen. So here is the battle for 4th, 5th, and 6th. You can see Johnny O'Connell, car number 4. That is the battle for 6th and 7th. My mistake. Confused it with the car number for a second. There's Johnny O'Connell and Pickett right behind him.
Greg Pickett
right behind him.
Now they've got some lap traffic in front of them. Ooh, that's holding Johnny O'Connell up, so he's having to back out. Ooh, made sure he didn't get boxed in, then Jolly nearly got himself completely boxed in there. Greg Pickett just a little bit slow in getting out from behind him there, and should have boxed him in, but anyway.
Yeah,
sure, he looks to be at the moment slightly quicker than O'Connell. If he gets around him, I think he'll pull away.
Drafting is not much of an issue here, but boxing in is. And when you have several cars, there's contact there. Pickett and O'Donnell, not much. Very, just a touch, I would say. These bodies are extremely strong and light, very expensive, over $10,000 for one of these bodies. You see one shred, you know that a car owner is weeping in the pit.
That back marker there in the 90 car, that's Jim McGuire. I don't think he realized all those guys are coming up on him. Down to turn 1 there. Johnny O'Connell still holding off Greg Pickett, but only just.
Well, you see that stat about Greg Pickett, more top 5 finishes than anybody. He has the experience, and he is a patient man. Very intelligent driver. A lot of the Trans Am men I would characterize as tactically very advanced. Wouldn't you, David?
Yep, and Greg Pickett certainly is one of them. You don't finish that many times in the top 10, like 88 or something, top 10 places. out of 130 starts. It's pretty strong.
All right, in the pits now, Derek Daly. What have you got, Derek? We're waiting for Derek Daly from the pits. We'll get back to him in just a moment as we watch Jamie Gallus pouring it on in his pursuit of Tommy Kendall. Kendall, of course, twice the Trans Am champion. And there we see Ave going by in the middle of the field. Tony Ave.
Tony Ave, of course, started on the pole on this race because of the inverted start and held off the hard-charging people around him, but couldn't hold it off that long. Finally had to make a stop.
So with Jamie Gallus beginning to erode the lead of Tommy Kendall, there's action here at the Optima Batteries Trans Am Classic in Long Beach. Don't go away.
Every few years, the world gathers to witness an unparalleled sports spectacle, the Truckathlon. And to compete, you have to have a Ford Ranger 4x4, because you'll need its switch-on four-wheel drive for truck long jump. It's four-wheel anti-lock brakes for truck discus. And it's whopping 4-liter V6 for truck hurdle. The Ford Ranger 4x4. You can't win without one.
Next event, Truck Pole Vault.
Yes!
Now, for your home and shop, one amazing blade that cuts through practically anything. This is new Multi-Disc. It's safe, it won't break or shatter. It's amazingly flexible. It will never bind or kick back your work. Multi-Disc cuts through this rock-hard ash baseball bat. It cuts through copper and iron pipes. Plastic pipes are cut off clean. There's no melting. Multi-Disc is diamond and carbide throughout. It's one of the best grinding wheels on the market. It shapes tile, grinds away paint, rust, and debris in seconds. Call toll-free or send for Multi-Disc now and start saving hundreds of dollars on single-purpose blades and wheels. Best of all, Multi-Disc will work on any rotary tool in your home or shop. Put it on your household drill, and it cuts like magic. Multi-Disc cuts like a blade and grinds like a wheel, and you can use it on any rotary tool you own. Multi-Disc sands Formica while it cuts so there's no chipped edges. Call or send now. Cut perfect angles and grind curves in ceramic tile. Cuts picture frame perfect moldings and trims. Hobbyists love it for detailing plastics, metal, and wood. Now, in this limited time offer, you get 2 Multi-Discs, a universal arbor to assure they'll fit all your rotary tools, and our unconditional money-back guarantee, all for only $12.98. Order now.
Back with a look from high above the streets of Long Beach, where a battle rages right now in this Trans Am race, the third one of the year, the Optima Batteries Trans Am Classic. You see it here. We're going to look at the full field rundown. You see Simo there in 5th, Phelan in 8th, Valentine doing well. And here you see the battle going on right now between Dorsey Schrader. It's the battle for 3rd. Dorsey had led the race earlier, forced his way up into the lead, and Scott Sharp is right behind. And I know, because I talked to him earlier, that Scott Sharp's dad, Bob Sharp, is back at a friend's home in Connecticut watching this live on Speed Vision. I hope he's enjoying what his son is up to here, because, David, it is a beautiful drive today for Scott Sharp.
Scott Sharp has pulled away from those immediate pursuers. If you remember, just a few laps ago, goes down the inside of Dorsey Schrader down at turn 1. Is he going to be able to do it? Dorsey Schrader shuts the door. Right hand. Dorsey's going to get boxed in.
No,
no room for either.
Scott is... He's there, he's trying to get out of rhythm, and then, yeah, Scott Sharp, that could be the move of the day, David. Unbelievable. Scott Sharp, I told you he was a tactician. That was gorgeous. What a move by Scott Sharp. Here's a man who finished second at Phoenix in the IRL race, won the Daytona 24 Hours. He's on his way to Indy to drive for A.J. Foyt, and he's just moved into 3rd here. Let's take another look at it. For a second, he appeared to hesitate, David.
That's Mark Beelsticker in the 49 car, who's really the lead player in this. Dorsey Schrader suddenly has to bolt, gets out of the throttle. Scott Sharp whistles down the inside. Dorsey follows him, but it's just too late.
Boy, was
look at the gap now between 1st and 2nd.
Yes,
Jamie Gallus
that gap
right up with Tommy Kendall.
We have seen that gap eroding from 4 seconds down to 3, down to 2, now just 1.1 seconds. And maybe with part of that story in the pits, Derek Daly. Derek?
Sam, I'm with a crew chief here who's eating his nails. Don Murphy, your driver Jamie Gallus has a challenge on Kendall. Is this a tire race, you think?
Yeah, Derek, I believe it is. Our driver, the ICI number 2, Glenn Camaro, when he doesn't talk to me, I know he's having a good time out there. And we anticipated the tires would be a factor at this racetrack, and we're letting the racetrack do a lot of the work for us, and it seems to be working out real well.
Working out well on the harder 430 tires.
The harder compound tires, then, are positioned 1, 2 in this race. There's Kendall bending his way past lower traffic. Jamie Gallus in that group right behind him. Gallus making a move to get by John Gooding. Gallus in that blue and white car there on the left of the screen. Very exciting stuff. Gallus, a big pass with 17 laps to go, David. We are starting to count down, and I would say with about 10 laps to go, the tire issue could become critical. It's obviously critical already for Dorsey.
Well, of course, they have got slightly different combos because Jamie Gallus has got the 430 tires all around. That is the harder one. Whereas, of course, Tommy Kendall has got 210s, the softer tires on the front. So he's probably having to baby his front a little bit. But I expect, Derek, you should be talking to Buzz McCall and ask him if he feels just a little bit better now about Ron Fellows dropping out now. Jamie Gallus and his other car is doing so well.
That's true. That's the Buzz McCall team that enters those 2 cars. But, of course, having Fellows out will alter the championship and throw it back into the lap of Tommy Kendall. Say, David?
Absolutely.
Kendall knows. First of all, Kendall won the championship last year. He got a great many pole positions, which got him bonus points, but forced him to start back in 5th each time.
Whoa,
Dorsey having a little trouble under braking.
Really starting to slide around under braking.
It wasn't until Homestead, the last race, just a few weeks ago, that Kendall managed to start back there in 5th and come through with a win. He sort of broke that jinx. And now, of course, he's leading easily and maybe in a position to break it again.
Well, of course, Tommy Kendall and Jamie Gallus went into this race only just 4 points apart because Kendall picked up 3 for getting the pole, the fastest lap in qualifying, came into this race with 48 points.
There goes a pass.
Got 44.
Johnny O'Connell going down inside of Dorsey Schrader, and there's Greg Pickett taking a look, too. Dorsey almost lost 2 spots in that confrontation. There's Greg Pickett making the move now. So we can say, David, I think almost for sure Dorsey's tire strategy, the soft compound, is hurting him and hurting him bad.
That's the 20. That's Bob Ruman. We saw him earlier on. Now, he's hit the wall pretty hard. I would think
this could be a yellow.
Going to bring out a full course caution because they aren't going to be able to drive that one away.
He looks okay, Bob Ruman, in the car. And yet they are, he came all the way from Monroe Falls, Ohio.
Is that Bill Saunders there, too? Looks like he's had a spin again.
I think they're brake problems, don't
he's
you?
Had a couple
afflicting that team, the Gentilossi team. Look at the smoke coming out of the right rear wheel well there. Another look at this would
that's
be
Bill Saunders. Just
yeah.
lost it under braking, trying to go down the inside of Dorsey Schrader. No contact, just flat lost it. And look at the difference now between first and second. There is no difference. And the caution flag has come out. So that might help Tommy Kendall's front tires recover just a little bit with just a few laps left.
Well, we are looking at a very exciting race here. And it looks to me as if Dorsey Schrader may be headed for the pits. We'll have that story when we come back in just a moment. Stay with us.
So you've chosen to be your own boss. Running your own business means doing what you love and doing what you do best. Except one thing you don't love one bit, doing the books. Well, now you can say goodbye to your bookkeeping hassles forever because the makers of Quicken have invented QuickBooks, the #1 selling accounting software that makes it fast and easy to do the things you don't love doing, like paying bills, writing invoices, figuring out what your customers owe, even tracking inventory and doing payroll. QuickBooks makes it all hassle-free. How's this for fast information? A click. And QuickBooks shows you this quarter's income and expenses. And look, a few keystrokes, and QuickBooks does your invoicing for you, and then does the bookkeeping automatically. So you can get back to doing what you do best, growing your business. It's even easy to try QuickBooks. Call now to get a trial version for just $8 through this special limited-time TV offer.
That number is 1-800-922-7800.
Back high above Long Beach, one of the world's most enduring symbols, the Goodyear Blimp Eagle, is based in Carson, California, and has been providing these beautiful aerial pictures. 1996 marks the 71st consecutive year that a Goodyear Blimp has flown over a major sporting event. Now we're going to have a look at Dorsey Schrader coming into the pits. David, he had tire problems, but look at this. He was 7th in the order, and he was able to make that pit stop without losing a place.
But I think he only changed one tire, unless we are, obviously, our reporter extraordinaire, Derek Daly, will be able to fill us in on that, but it looked like he might have only changed one tire, which leads me to believe he perhaps was just having a puncture.
Yeah, the offending tire, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay, good analysis. Why wouldn't it have been smart to change all 4 and then get ready to charge up? Well, anyway, we'll find out the facts as Derek Daly has them. Derek?
Hey, fellas, while things slow down a little bit here, let me take a minute to just talk to Glenn Johnson, VP of Marketing and Sales of Optima Batteries. Glenn, wonderful day here for this Trans Am Classic.
Yes, it is. We're very excited to be here today. It's a great opportunity to showcase our product.
That product, incidentally, fellas, is a dry cell battery, which is being used more and more in racing cars now because they can mount them upside down or on their side. Interesting development.
Certainly is, and all these cars, of course, have them. We will be right back with more and that full story on what happened in the pits when we come back. Stay with us, please.
You've busted your back. You've nearly drowned yourself, and your car wash is still hit or miss. Next time, use a Shawala. A Shawala wash is the fastest, easiest, most thorough car wash there is. No gimmicks, no moving parts, just a giant washing surface that cleans your entire car in no time. This genuine Shawala is made of the same type of material used in professional brushless car washes. It's so tough, it's virtually indestructible, yet it's so gentle it can never scratch your car. The multiple layers follow the contours of any surface, while the special fingers reach into every nook and cranny. And look, it would take all these ordinary sponges to equal the surface washing area of one Shawala. Nothing can hold more soap. The extra long handle lets you wash both sides of your hood at once, and even the roof is easy to reach. Have a van? Then you've got to have a Shawala. No climbing, no straining. The Shawala reaches even the highest vehicle and cleans it quicker than ever before. Just 2 or 3 minutes and you're done. Tilt the Shawala this way and look how easy it is to get into those narrow crevices. Even wheels and tires come clean in seconds. There's never been a better wash than a Shawala wash for your car, your van, your truck, even your boat. The original genuine Shawala is only $19.95, complete with this double guarantee. First, your Shawala is guaranteed to give you the quickest, easiest, best car wash ever or your money back. Second, it's guaranteed to never tear or come apart, or we'll replace it free. Don't settle for cheap imitations. Order your genuine Shawala now.
Call toll-free 1-800-742-2400. That's 1-800-742-2400. Or send $19.95 plus shipping and handling to Shawala, 2 Morgan Avenue, Norwalk, Connecticut 06851. For fastest delivery, use your credit card and call 1-800-742-2400.
Back live at Long Beach with the Optima Batteries Trans Am Classic. And it is, David Hobbs, a classic. We see the standings here. Tom Kendall in and out of the lead. Jamie Gallus caught him up from way, way back. Scott Sharp, with that brilliant pass, has moved into 3rd. You see Dorsey Schrader, who made that pit stop, dropping way back, but has a new tire now on his car. He should be in good shape when the restart comes out. We're going to have very, very few laps left to go. You see they are still under yellow. We have not received notification that there is just 1 lap to go. There may be more than 1 lap to go under the yellow. Hopefully with more on the tire situation, Derek Daly. Derek?
Hey,
Derek?
fellas, there's a bit of a family reunion here that's about to get ready for a shootout because Scott Sharp obviously running so well. Well, his father-in-law is in 6th place, and we have the whole family clan back here about to shout and scream on the closing laps of this event.
If Dorsey can get that done on the back straight, he may go green.
Well, they're not the only ones, Derek, that are enjoying this race. An enormous crowd here, as I said before, but, I mean, you can hear the roar of excitement because this is a shootout coming up. It is classic Trans Am racing. 1 more lap under the yellow. We will go away for a moment, and when we come back, hopefully we will start to see the end of this race. All right. You see with Kendall still leading under the yellow, Gallus next, Scott Sharp next. We will be back, so stay with us.
House windows are easy to clean, but when it comes to your car, dirt, birds, bugs, and road grime can really muddy the picture. That's why you need Eagle One 2020 Auto Glass Cleaner. Perfect vision for your car.
Luscious color can only have one source. Eagle One Wet Car Polish. For the hottest looking ride on the road, get wet.
Back at Long Beach, very little time left in this race. Real tension here now on the streets. The cars are under the yellow at the moment. They're on the back of the course. You see the leaders here. It has not changed, of course. It's been under the yellow for several laps now. But when they come around, our information from the officials is that the green flag will wave and a shootout will begin. It should be, David, an extremely tense moment, because the best chance for overtaking may very well be right down in that first turn.
I would say that at the moment, Tommy Kendall's heart is beating at about 1,000 RPM, as will be, of course, Jamie Gallus looking for his first ever victory. Let's hope they don't try and win the whole thing at that first corner, but you never know.
Derek, we've got something?
I don't know whether we have something or not, whether they let the cat out of the bag. Dan, what do you think?
I think we're all right. You know, we were pulling them a little bit in traffic. It's tight. I think we're okay.
That didn't sound too confident to me, boys. Did it to you?
Well, he did say he thinks he's all right.
There's the man behind.
The pace car is out. We've got one lap to go still.
One lap for the tension to build. All right, let's think about the tactical situation here. We've got Tommy Kendall, the most experienced of the drivers in that lead group, with the possible exception of Scott Sharp. Sharp outperforming himself in this race. Did not expect, I don't think, to be doing that well. And then young Jamie Gallus zigzagging his blue and white car there, the least experienced, but in the last few laps under green, the fastest of the cars on the track. Derek?
I think, fellas, worthy of a mention is Johnny O'Connell. He just jumped into this car Monday of this week, had so little testing, and is doing an outstanding job. They feel he ran a little bit too hard at the start of the race. He's on the harder 430 rear tires, but his car is now too loose to be a realistic challenge for more positions up front.
There's O'Connell's car right there, the dark blue number 4, the sister car to Dorsey Schrader. When that Tom Gloyd team had trouble getting their car set up, they were dismayed. Of course, at the top of the race, we told you about the fact they were a little bit, half a second off what they thought they would be. And they brought O'Connell in to see what he could do about sorting it out, and he was very fast and very helpful. It would be great, would it not, David, if he was able to be Trans Am regular, because I think based on his performance here today, he would light this place up.
I certainly hope he's with us at least next week in Phoenix. We've got a good full calendar of events coming up. I think the pace car's about to pull off, so now it's going to be a real quick shootout, because there's not much of this race left. We haven't had a ruling yet from the officials, but this race is either going to could end in as much as like 2 or 3 minutes from the dropping of the green flag. So Tommy Kendall will be getting on with, gets a nudge there by Jamie Gallus, and of course Scott Sharp is coming into the picture now too.
And there is the flagman on the left of your screen. Watch him. There he is. He's waving the green. The race is back on. We are not sure whether it's going to be a timed race or a lap race. That is being decided now, and of course the pit crews will be informed, but there's a lot of tactical urgency to doing just the right thing at the right moment.
Tommy Sharp there moving over, carefully blocking out Brian Semo there in the 22 car. But of course Tommy Kendall hanging on here to a very slender lead over young Jamie Gallus in the Chevrolet. So Ford and Chevrolet once again shooting it out to win a prestigious Trans Am in front of probably one of the largest crowds they'll get all year.
The idea was that the Ford had a little more speed on the straight here. The Camaro maybe a little bit better handling, David. It's an interesting matchup. I think I'd rather be in the Ford, A, because you're out front and you can defend your position, and B, because this is a sort of shoot-and-go track where you need that horsepower.
But of course, Tommy Kendall and Jamie Gallus having different tires. Tommy Kendall's got softer front tires.
Look at
coming out of the corner there. Jamie Gallus using up a little bit less road than Tommy. Tommy letting the car run a bit freer. pretty evenly matched down the straightaway. And right behind them, of course, is young Scott Sharp in the 33 car.
What do you think? Jamie Gallus seems to have the front of that car working awfully well, David.
He does. He's going to have a go down the inside. No, can't quite pull it off again. Scott Sharp moves over to make sure that Simo doesn't go down the inside of him into turn 1.
This is great racing because you have to think about trying to get the man in front of you, but you also have to worry about the guy that's right behind you.
And right behind Brian Simo, who's trying to get around Scott Sharp, right behind him is the guy you were just talking about, Johnny O'Connell, in that dark blue number 4 car. Meanwhile, Kendall pulls away a little bit from Jamie Gallus. But as we come into turn 6 here, there's no doubt about it, Gallus catches up a bit on brakes, and through this next complex where he goes right, left again, and then right around a very tight hairpin, he seems to make up some ground on Tommy Kendall.
Kendall, however, squirts it off down that straightaway that they just enter now. Here they come out about 30 miles an hour and accelerate to 160. That shoreline drive, you see the shoreline, after which is named in the background. The Queen Mary's out there at anchor. These two cars, of course, are not anchored. They are absolutely flying. And Jamie Gallus has never run a race any better than this, David. He's a veteran of many open-wheel races, in which he is very good, but he is really showing aggression. And Tommy Kendall is a man who has won every championship that he has entered in the last 9 years. He's won 8 out of 9, and the one he missed was because of his bad injuries at Watkins Glen. So Jamie Gallus is running against a real quality driver.
Yeah, for 29-year-old Kendall certainly has got a very, very mature head on his shoulders. But it seems to me like the Chevrolet is just a little bit quicker down that long, straight shoreline drive, which is not really what we were expecting. We were expecting the Ford to be a bit quicker down that long straight. I think the Chevrolet is a little bit quicker, and I think he is actually using that draft that you were talking about earlier on.
Maybe he is. Remember when Jamie Gallus told us earlier about all he'd learned almost by osmosis through hanging around his father's teams when they were so successful in that 5-year period here at the beach. Little Al Unser winning 4 out of the 5. Danny Sullivan with that brilliant victory when he nudged Al aside in the other one. And Jamie Gallus standing there absorbing it all. There's one of his crewmen there. Jamie Gallus, very much the story of this race in that beautiful Glidden-sponsored car, looking the best he has ever looked in a Trans Am. And Kendall now starting to look a little ragged, David. Kendall looking a little ragged. I still like Kendall's chances because of his acceleration and his experience and his hard-headed. We have now received official word, 5 laps to go. We have on our plate a very rich feast, because if this goes on another 5 laps, we're going to see some wonderful racing.
Well, we assume that the drivers have been told the same, too. So they were sort of somewhat in the dark when that flag dropped then for the beginning of this last segment of the race. But now they know that they've got, well, I guess it'll be 4 laps to go next time by the flag.
Scott Sharp running 3rd, just out of range. There you see him there, but he has caught up a little bit and is pulled away from Brian Simo. So Scott Sharp trying desperately to be a player. And of course, one logical scenario, there's Max Jones watching very carefully from the pits here.
Oh, and it goes down the inside, the pass.
Jamie Gallus.
Max Jones was looking extremely worried when we saw his face, and well, he might have done, because Jamie Gallus took the lead going into turn 1.
That was the exit speed. I predict we will see Jamie Gallus getting a real nice exit off the turn and being able to pour it on. Kendall beginning to get some wheel spin at this point, and Scott Sharp with a very well-balanced car, not out of it suddenly. Here we go.
I mean, that Chevrolet is right on the bumper of the Ford down the straight. The Chev is definitely quicker down this straightaway than the Ford. Pulled him up on his draft and did a beautiful...
You spoke of drafting, David. I think you nailed it. I think that was a beautiful drafting move. I didn't think that would work here, but I was wrong. All right, terrific now with Scott Sharp clearly in the picture for 3rd, and I'm sure Tommy Kendall somewhat shaken by that pass by a much less experienced driver. Jamie Gallus leading here at Long Beach.
If he wins this race, he's got 3 laps left to go. If he was to win this race, that would be his... But look at Scott Sharp catching up to Tommy Kendall now. With 3 laps to go, he could well slide into that 2nd spot. So that would be well ahead of Scott Sharp's projections for the year.
Well, as Derek Daly has been telling us from the very beginning, some are running on hard tires, some on soft tires, and the tires may very well be the story. And I think what has happened with Tommy Kendall right here in the number 11, the black car, is that his tires have finally gone off those laps in the lead. And I think the laps that he had to respond to the pressure of Jamie Gallus's charge, don't you, David?
It must be these two cars that we see in the picture now running in second and third.
Oh, Scott Sharp.
Got the same tyre combination, the soft front and the hard rear. So they, at least tyre-wise, are dead even.
And I would say Scott Sharp moves his agenda up several races now. Big action. This could produce, of course, will produce the yellow.
R.J. Valentine in the 7 car. Is that Dale Phelan's car? I can't tell until we have a close look at it, but it looks...
This could hand the race, David, to Jamie Gallus, because I think we're going to see, of course, don't you? It looks like, yes.
Dale Phelan ran straight R.J. Valentine there as they break. Or did he run back
I
to
don't know,
Pickett?
into Pickett, and then Valentine got involved. There's Valentine's car, number 7, the yellow and black car on the left. All right, now cones being thrown around. What will happen?
Well, I think that will certainly safeguard Tommy Kendall's second spot.
Yes.
No, Greg Scott Sharp got around him.
And Dorsey Schrader is suddenly in the picture, but of course we're seeing the yellow now. Way too dangerous to race through here. There could be repercussions as these very wide Trans Am tires pick up debris off the track.
Well, did Scott Sharp overtake him then under the yellow, do you think? Or hadn't they brought the yellow out all the way around there? Maybe not.
Good.
There's R.J. Valentine still plugging on.
How can he maintain control of that car? In that,
I guess it looks worse than it is. The wheels are obviously all attached. A lot of smoke coming off the wheels where the tires are being rubbed on by bodywork and
look at that left front wheel there. It's attached, but not really very good for steering. All right, major ramifications. What, if anything, and I think we're probably looking at Phelan's car there, don't you?
Yes.
What, if anything, will this mean? Full course yellow, 2 laps to go here in Long Beach. The pace car is going to be brought out. The white flag is going to be brought out. We are now
on the white flag lap now. Here we see it again.
Phelan just looked like he was making a desperate late race bid
to pass Greg Pickett in the 6 car.
Caught the back of Greg Pickett.
And then, of course, it dragged in Greg Pickett's team car of R.J. Valentine in the 7, who spun on the oil and water. You can see all over the track there.
So Jamie Gallus may very well cross the finish line with yellow flags and a checkered flag waving at him. His best finish was 2nd last year. He had 2 of them. He finished 2nd at Watkins Glen and Road Atlanta. So this is his first success, David, on a city course, a street course. Jamie Gallus, age 24, living with his family in Albuquerque. We're happy to see the driver is out and looks to be okay. Scott Sharp has emerged very much here in 2nd place, David.
He certainly has. He's made up a lot of ground this afternoon. Started in 9th. He's going to finish this race in 2nd, unless, of course, they move him back. If they feel he overtook under the yellow, obviously they'll move him back at least to 1 spot. Tommy Kendall will come 2nd. But whatever. With Tommy Kendall 2nd or 3rd, it will make an incredibly close championship at the top of the table.
And here comes the checkered flag. As we thought, they will finish the race under yellow. Jamie Gallus waving to the crowd. Scott Sharp right behind him. And let's take a look at the move that put Jamie Gallus out in front of Tommy Kendall. That beautiful hole shot down Shoreline Drive, David. A perfectly executed braking move. We have seen really wonderful racing here at Long Beach, culminating in this great pass. We will be back in just a moment. Stay with us.
Unbelievable, spectacular, breathtaking, crash impact. 60 minutes of blazing crash action in this special edition 2-volume set. See outrageous motocross and road racing action, sprint cars and outlaws, Grand Prix, stock cars, monster trucks, powerboats, and more. Only $19.95. This exclusive 2-tape set is jam-packed with magnificent racing and crash action footage featuring top drivers from around the world. Order now and get absolutely free. Havoc 1, over 45 minutes of rare footage, including some of the most thrilling and horrifying moments that made early racing history. You'll get this incredible 2-tape offer, plus your Havoc video free. 3 tapes that'll blow you away. guaranteed or your money back.
To order, call 1-800-982-7600. That's 1-800-982-7600. Or send $19.95 plus $4.50 shipping and handling to the address on your screen.
If automobiles, aircraft, boats, or motorcycles get your heart racing and stir your soul, Speed Vision is for you. 24 hours a day, the Speed Vision Network will have something for everyone, from the average consumer to the die-hard enthusiast. Business and racing news, historical documentaries, consumer-oriented programming, competition events from around the world. Speed Vision, cable's fastest-growing network. Call your local cable operator or DirecTV.
Why do the most serious car enthusiasts choose Auto Week every week?
Auto Week has the latest news because it's a weekly.
If you love cars, you should be subscribing to Auto Week. Call this number now for our special TV offer.
I'm into going racing with my buddies, and Auto Week gives us information to talk about before it's old news.
Call now and get 52 issues of Auto Week for only $19.95 and 85% saving off the cover price. That's 52 issues of the car news you need for only 38 cents an issue. Auto Week, for a true car lover, once a month is not enough. Call now.
This is the Mustang of Tommy Kendall, which had led so much of the race, but you see him now stranded 150 yards short of the finish line. He will not figure in the top 5 places as you see the standing. We will be back with that story and other things as we wrap it up from Long Beach, California.
Most windows are easy to clean, but when it comes to your car, dirt, birds, bugs, and road grime can really muddy the picture. That's why you need Eagle One 2020 Auto Glass Cleaner. Perfect vision for your car.
The job needs 4 guys now, and the guys need all their equipment. You're working harder than ever. You need a truck that does too. Meet the all-new 1997 Ford F-150, the only full-size pickup with a standard Super Cab third door, 60/40 split rear bench, and standard dual airbags, plus a taller cab for more hat and boot room than ever. After all, the guys aren't getting any smaller. The new Ford F-150. Strength after strength after strength.
When it comes to taking care of beautiful wheels, there's only one brand exclusively recommended by the world's leading wheel manufacturers. Eagle One. Quality for those who care.
Coverage of the Optima Batteries Classic has been brought to you by Ford and your local Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? We now have a moment for a last word from Derek Daly. Derek, what is going on down there?
Well, there is family pandemonium here because yet again the Gallus team are successful. The Gallus name are successful here. Don Murphy, his crew chief, gets a big hug. Buzz McCall, his team owner. Jamie, you just won the biggest Trans Am event of the year, and you're very first. You got to feel good.
Oh, we feel great. The ICI Glidden Camaro was just, it was really good. Tommy really had us covered all weekend, but when it counted, the ICI Glidden Chevy Camaro came through, and I got to thank my guys and Will Moody because the car was real bad in qualifying. But
champagne again for the Gallus team, boys. On the Gallus name.
As the Gallus magic continues here at Long Beach. You see how popular young Jamie's win is. Terrific. And this has been, the proceeding has been a presentation of Speed Vision. Thank you for being with us here at Long Beach.